What's up, guys? We are back for another review, taking a look at something that, generally speaking, I don't really buy just because I don't really get into very specific horror movie stuff, but this one really spoke to me and I had to get him. So we're taking a look at the 1990 movie version of the Pennywise figure from NECA Toys. We have got him here in kind of the upscaled NECA packaging a bit. So we've got some artwork and logo on the front. The back has got our product shots and then some artwork as well, but the package opens up to reveal product shots as well as a window so you can actually take a look at the figure and all of his stuff. So presentation on this guy is pretty fantastic. I am very eager to tear into this one, so let's open him up and take a look. Alright guys, here we go. Pennywise the Clown out of the package, and like I said, this is one that normally I wouldn't buy, but I am a huge Stephen King fan. I'm a very big fan of the It novel and all of the ways that it ties into a lot of the other Stephen King books in terms of the Dark Tower and all that stuff without getting too crazy in depth. So this is one that I definitely needed to pick up just because I'm a fan. And after this review, if you want to get one for yourself, head on over to Big Bad Toy Store. As usual, I will put a link down below. But let's get started and take a look at how this guy moves around first, because he's got some interesting articulation. So for the most part, this guy is fairly posable. There are some restrictions in terms of his design, and then there's also a few points of articulation that are kind of weird and just different. So the head can swivel, and it actually swivels at the neck. It's all one piece, so the head and the neck are sculpted together, and it can move back and forth. He has such a big head of hair, though, that you can't really move backwards too much, and there's no real bobble action either. So you're basically just getting some down and some rotation. The arms can go all the way out, and they can swivel. We have got swivel at the elbow, and then we've got a very interesting arm joint. So you can see that there are two joints here to make kind of like a double jointed elbow, but you've got a bend here, and then you've got another bend here. So it bends here, and then it bends here, which is just odd. I assume they did that because of the sculpt, just to allow for things to move as much as they can without, jacking up this elbow, because I think it would have made things a little difficult. And then you do have rotation here at this joint as well. Forearm joint, I guess. And then we've got swivel and hinge at the wrist. So pretty standard stuff in terms of what he can do. It's just an odd joint system, but it looks pretty decent, surprisingly, despite the fact that there is an extra bend there, all things considered. We do have a diaphragm swivel, so you can move him around a little bit. Not a great deal back and forth, just because of the girthy nature of this guy, but he swivels pretty well. The midsection of his clothing is kind of rubbery, so you can kind of lift that up and see the joints in there. You can swivel the legs out, and you can kick forward. Obviously, that's going to bend to allow that to happen. There is a thigh swivel in there. We've got a single jointed knee, and then the feet down here, they can move side to side and rotate. It feels like it's a ball peg. It doesn't really seem to have a hinge down there. But in general, I mean, he stands pretty solidly. I haven't had any issues with posing him or anything like that. And then the only real oddness is with the elbows and forearm, I suppose, and then the fact that the head of hair definitely does get in the way of some articulation as far as moving that head backwards. Now, as far as the overall look and feel of this guy, that's the main reason why I wanted this, because at the outset, just from seeing pictures and all the promo material for this guy, he looks so much like what I expect Pennywise to look like, and that is it's always going to be that way for me, the Tim Curry version from the original, TV movie. And I really think this is a fantastic representation of this character by NECA. I think they did a really solid job here. There's a lot going on in terms of sculpt and paint, and we're going to talk about him from the neck down first, and then we're going to take a minute to look at that head sculpt. So like I've already mentioned, we do have some kind of soft rubbery plastic at the midriff section, and that on its own is a good thing just to help with mobility, but there is a ton of sculpted detail all over the baggy nature of the pants. He is a paunchy kind of guy. He's got the pom-poms that hang off the chest. We've got the baggy clothes for the arms, and everything is painted really well. There is a lot of paint application going on with this guy, from the greens and the purples, not to mention all the work on the actual vest itself, which is solidly done. It's very nice. I'm very happy with how the vest turns out. The collar piece is free floating, so it will move around. It is kind of a rubbery plastic as well to help with a little bit of articulation. It's got excellent paint applications on it as well. Tons of sculpted detail. Obviously, it's a frilly piece of fabric, so it needs to have some sculpt on it, as well as the little I don't know, things down here, frills at the end of the pants. And then of course you do have the open splayed hands. These are what he comes with in the package. So those are just kind of his default hands that he's got there. But I think overall there is a lot going on here in terms of sculpt and paint. I don't have any real things to gripe about here. I think this looks about as perfect as can be, especially at a $20-ish price point for a figure. I think he looks fantastic. I think it's very well sculpted. I think it's very well painted, but we haven't even talked about the face, and that's really where this guy shines. So here he is up close and personal, and I gotta say, this is the key aspect of this figure that made me want to buy this. And having it in person, I realized just how well NECA captured the Tim Curry likeness here. Obviously, he's covered in, white face paint with that red bulbousy nose, but you can tell that underneath that, it's Tim Curry. It's him. It looks just like him. He looks very unhappy to be here in action figure form. I think the expression they got on this particular face is really well done. You've got that humongous head of hair, tons of sculpted detail in there. It could have used a bit of a wash to help bring it out a little bit more, but I really think that in general, everything about the face is really well done. You can see some wrinkles sculpted into his face, the folds of the skin. You've got that expression, which I've already mentioned, the bright red nose, and then of course those eyes and the eyebrows. I really don't think that if the face wasn't nailed, that this would have been such a popular figure. I mean, it's obviously a popular character currently because of the 2017 movie, but this face and what they were able to do with it is why I bought this figure. And I think that I definitely got my money's worth because this looks exactly like what I wanted it to. Now, this is a NECA toy. That means we have a delightful spread of accessories here, and you can see I've kind of swapped him out for a few of them already. So we do have a number of heads, a number of hands, and then some other accessories as well. So I've already got him swapped out for the pointing finger. He has one of those. So we've got one left hand for the pointing finger. We have got two gripping style hands, and you can see I've got some of the balloons in there. We'll talk about those in a second. And then he has those splayed hands for his normal hands. He also comes with two hands for his quote-unquote true form, where he's transformed into the spider crab monster, whatever you want to call it. And then we do have other heads. So we've got the standard kind of frowny face that you saw previously. We've got the very, very uncomfortable, creepy looking smiling face with those nasty teeth. He's got the kind of squinted eyes, which look really, really good. We have got another head with a surprised expression, which looks fantastic. And some of these are sculpted a little differently. Some of them have a neck that is more up and down, and some of them have a neck that is more angled, which kind of allows you to rock the head back a little bit. And then we have got the kind of burned face as well, where he's kind of going full demon almost on that, which looks fantastic. We do have a couple other accessories. We've got the paper boat, which it's literally a piece of paper. It looks kind of like newsprint. We've got the noisemaker, which is quintessential to the Pennywise character. And then, of course, we got the balloons. And I think these are really cool, but I also have some kind of trepidation about them as well, because we do have quite a few of them. There are 7 in total. So you've got the red, orange, blue, green, yellow, and then we've got another yellow, and then we've got a white. And they all have bendy wire. They're all the same length, so you don't have any issues with that. They're kind of heavy, though, honestly, especially once you get a bunch in his hand. And I find that you kind of need a certain amount of them. I've got 5 in hand and 2 out to actually be able to hold them correctly. Otherwise, they just want to kind of fall out. So these will kind of keep each other in place. But if you got to pose them a certain way to keep them upright, I'm worried that they might start to sag over time. Still, it's just a bendy wire. It's not really going to lose its shape too much. It's just a slight concern. But yeah, I do think he looks fantastic. I mean, it's a cool idea to actually get these. These are just hard plastic balloons, but they're sculpted very well. You've got the little knots on the bottom and everything. So it's another instance where NECA's kind of going the extra mile to give you a ton of stuff. I mean, this really is a giant spread of accessories for the price point. And I think all of them are very representative of the character and the movie and everything about this creepy clown. So overall, I really don't have anything negative, truly negative, to say about this figure. The only thing that even really comes to mind is the fact that those elbows are slightly wonky, but at the same time, they also work just fine. They just are different and odd. This thing is about as accurate to the Tim Curry Pennywise as I can imagine, especially at the price point. NECA has really done it again, gone the extra mile on some of these accessories. The figure just looks fantastic, and for the price I paid, I definitely got more than my money's worth as far as I'm concerned. I think this is an excellent, excellent action figure. I've never even seen the 2017 movie, and I'm interested to get that figure now just to see if it's as good or better than than this one. Although at the end of the day, this is my preferred version for Pennywise. This is what I think of when I think of this horrifically creepy clown, and I'm really, really glad to add this guy to my collection. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys Pennywise figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.